What's up, you guys? Ross Sapp, managing editor, FightfulWrestling.com, FightfulMMA.com. Lots of stuff going on at FightfulMMA.com tonight. We have the UFC Fight Night Rochester, which we're about to talk about. We have the Deontay Wilder fight, which I'm going to wrap this up well before that goes up, so you guys can catch that as well. But the evening capped off with Rafael dos Anjos stopping Kevin Lee. Lots to talk about in that regard. A few housekeeping notes. No Fightful MMA podcast this Tuesday. I will be doing news updates throughout the week. I have a heavy travel week, and there's no UFC event next weekend. There's no Bellator event next weekend. There's no big boxing show next weekend. The next UFC event is June 1st. So I'm going to do rankings updates. I'm going to be doing news updates and things like that next week. And then we travel to Las Vegas for AEW Double or Nothing. Joe Holbert, who you all have seen tons of his features. He has been promoted to head MMA writer, lead MMA writer at Fightful.com. I want to thank David Tease for all the hard work that he put in for almost 3 years at Fightful. That guy has a great work ethic, and that's going to carry over to whatever it is that he chooses to do next. Think the world of David Tease, and he got rid of his Twitter, but if he gets it back, tell him you appreciate him. Tell him that that his work was appreciated because he did an awful lot of it. He covered so much stuff for us, especially over WrestleMania weekend. That man, he is the machine. And nobody, I don't think, will ever be able to do the type of stuff that David Tease was able to do here at Fightful. So I want to thank him for that time that he gave us. And he will always be a part of the Fightful family and will have a place here as well. We have UFC Fight Night Rochester. Whew, I didn't do an I Got 5 on it this week. There were a lot of changes to this show, but we did do our preview. We do preview all of these events the Tuesday before, Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, FightfulMMA.com. But let's go ahead and get into it. Julio Arce dropped Julian Erosa. It was round 3 at TKO. Erosa was finding some early success with the wild looping punches, but towards the middle of that second round, Arce fixed the problem. Is the Wilder fight already over? Did somebody say that? I still haven't checked it out, but Arce dropped Erosa with a huge head kick and ended up winning. This was just the right type of win for Arce. This was just really, really great. Really great. It's what he needed to do to kind of put himself out there and make himself help establish himself even further. Yeah, I'm hearing that Deontay Wilder. Oh my God! I just watched it. Jesus Christ! This is me reacting in real time to just watching the Deontay Wilder knockout. Jesus friggin' Christ. The way the clip looked like it just stepped in immediately. This is a couple minutes in. That was freaking amazing. Whoa. What? Here I was ready to strap in and watch it at about midnight. Oh my God. We got to see him versus Joshua. Woo, boy. What is that? Wilder led with this like light left and followed with this right straight, and then did like a spin move, walk off. That was unbelievable. Rizal done. I guess we can talk about UFC again. Yeah, it was supposed to say he doesn't work by the hour. That's for damn sure. Oh boy, I guess there's always the Charlie Zelenoff rematch, right? Hot dog. Zak Cummings taps Trevin Giles. James Krause had a pretty good night outside of the Megan Anderson fight, but Giles hadn't fought since 2017. Cummings is one of James Krause's projects, and this fight, as well as the Grant Dawson fight, has me wondering how long will it be until big stars give James Krause a try. He's still a successful fighter. He is still arguably in his prime. And he's making winners out of people, man. That's just how it is. Zak Cummings changed his weight division and is a winner now since moving to middleweight. This is Giles' first loss. There's not a whole lot until round 3, until Cummings landed this insane overhand left hand. Giles isn't able to recover, and Cummings ends up winning with a guillotine choke. He's doing really good. Ed Herman obliterated Patrick Cummins. I read this fight as Herman and Cummins, between these two, as a fight where the UFC just wanted a guy to get a win. That's it. UFC wanted one of these guys to win, and it was Ed Herman. Cummins was controlling this one a little bit of everywhere, but I'm surprised that we didn't see him wrestle more. Herman cracks Cummins with a knee, and Cummins sells it like Dolph Ziggler, man. He's like waving and flipping and flopping. Oh, man. Herman wants in the video game, and that's it. That's all he wants. And it is kind of weird that after 13 years, he has never been in one. But he was probably done if he didn't win this. And that's easy for me to say. But the UFC lets people hang around for about 6 losses these days, and they like Ed Herman. So who knows? But Cummins has lost 3 in a row. He's 2-5 at his last 7. Gone are the days of him just losing the top 15 talent, because Herman is nowhere near that. At 38, it was bound to happen sooner or later. And if Cummins doesn't hang around in the UFC, he'll get offers from the likes of Bellator. Bellator will set him up against some people and whatever. Grant Dawson taps Mike Trezano. This was, for Trezano, he had this good stretch where he won the tough tournament, his first fight after, and won a fight in Bellator, but that's over. Dawson's now 2-0, and he came up off a Contender Series. UFC loves those guys that come from Contender Series, and this is the newest one. This is a good fight and a good card. Let's talk about somebody who's got to get performance of the night. Raquel Pereira, who you guys probably know as the guy who did a moonsault and a lion salt in an MMA fight. And he got signed based on that. And I posted on Twitter that he had enough to get him a UFC deal. He did, like, legitimately. He had won those 2 fights back-to-back in Road FC, and I think he had won 6 of... Or he only had 1 loss in like 9 or 10 fights. That's enough. And he showed up against Danny Roberts, and this was not a gimme. Danny Roberts isn't like some world beater or anything. But Danny Roberts has been in the UFC since 2015. He was 5-3, I think. And Raquel Pereira just jumped off the freaking cage over and over again. Got Danny Roberts. Ooh, sorry, hit my mic there. Got Danny Roberts just off balance and just out of the way. Cracked him with a huge flying knee and a straight punch. Knocked out Roberts. That was one of the most unusual, dominant fights that I've ever seen. And as Joseph Boza points out, Dana White later on would say, oh my God, this guy that he's 21-10 or whatever. I can't sign him. And he was fighting anyway. But it is wild. But I mean, when you got a fight like Raquel Pereira had tonight, damn, you best believe that reinforced that signing decision. And that turned some heads. Hawkeye says, imagine him versus Johnny Walker. Different weight divisions, but Raquel Pereira is one to watch. And I would like to see him fight. Oh, God, who do I want to see him fight? It can't be a top 15 guy, but it's got to be an exciting guy. That's for damn sure. Amazing. Desmond Green beat Jourdain, and this, whatever, he grinded this one out. The story of this was him getting the great ovation in his hometown, which was fantastic. I loved the ovation that he got. Really, really great. And that's really the story of this. Logan Hollingsworth says, just got back from Buffalo Wild Wings. Second time I've tried to watch UFC at a bar recently, and they haven't had it. It's like $5. You're spending more at Buffalo Wild Wings than you are for ESPN Plus, my man. Number 6, Aspen Ladd defeated Sijara Eubanks. This was actually a rematch, and Sijara Eubanks moving up from 125 to 135. This fight ruled. Sijara lost their first fight against one another, and it's her return to the bantamweight division. But Aspen Ladd is a tough out, man. Logan says, I did order ESPN Plus. There you go. Eubanks took down Ladd, but Ladd turns the tides, and Eubanks ended up pouring it on at the end of the first round. Ladd then destroyed Eubanks towards the end of the second, and if she had more time, she may have stopped it. They just slugged it out in the third round. This is one of my favorite women's bantamweight third round for, period. It was phenomenal, and I thought that Sijara Eubanks had a lot more juice on her punches than Aspen Ladd did. But man, Aspen Ladd has almost like the Paige Van Zandt thing where people look at her and they're like, oh, she's a cute girl and the UFC's pushing her and she's young and all this stuff. And they assume that she's not as tough as she is for some reason. She's very tough. I mean, she finished Lena Landsberg. She finished Tanya Evinger. She beat Sijara Eubanks right before that. She's a tough girl, man. Joseph Boza asked if I agree with the scoring. I had it scored a draw. So I definitely do not agree with 30-26 Ladd. I thought that Sijara Eubanks showed a lot for her bantamweight debut, but Aspen Ladd's a number 6 girl in that division, and understandably so. And I look at Aspen Ladd, and you got to put her in a conversation now. Here's the thing. You can't have – do you trust Germaine Durandamy in the title picture? She's number 1. I sure as hell don't, because it's been almost 2.5 years, and Germaine Durandamy's fought one time since the Holly Holm fight. That's the situation. Germaine Durandamy fights once a year at best. She fought twice in 13, once in 14, none in 14, once in 15, once in 16, 17, 18. Hasn't fought this year yet. You can't put her in the title conversation. Kat Zingano. Well, she's busy losing at featherweight right now. She got beat by Caitlin Vieira. Well, let's go look at Caitlin Vieira. Caitlin Vieira is a name you got to look at in that division. She's beaten Sarah McMahon, Ashley Evans-Smith, Kat Zingano. Probably worthy of a title shot. Raquel Pennington, she's ranked above. She just got beat by Durandamy, got beat by Nunes after that. She's got no wins since 2016. I think Aspen Ladd should be ranked above somebody who hasn't won since 2016. I think Aspen Ladd should probably be ranked number 4 in this division. She should be behind Durandamy, Vieira, and maybe Holm. Maybe Holm. And with Holm, it's really hard for me to tell. Boza says that Raquel's booked to fight Aldana at UFC on ESPN4. Whatever. They don't call it ESPN4 anymore. They call it whatever city it's from. But Holm is, she's getting the title shot. Hasn't fought in a year. Hasn't competed at bantamweight since 2017. So do I think that Holm should be ranked number 2 in the bantamweight division? Not really. She's got one bantamweight fight since 2016. She's got one bantamweight win since the beginning of 2016. I think Aspen Ladd should be ranked above Holly Holm too. You got to do something in the division. And I don't think that Holly Holm has. Let's look at Holly Holm's bantamweight history. She beat Betch Correia, not a top 15 fighter. She lost to Shevchenko. I lost to Tate. Okay. Beat Rousey. That's how far back we got to go for her second bantamweight win. Don't sleep on Aspen Ladd. I'm telling you guys. I'm not saying that she's going to be a champion or anything, but between amateur and pro, 16-1. Outstanding. Dobby Ramos defeated Austin Hubbard, unanimous decision. Ramos is just way better than Hubbard, and he should have been able to submit him, but he couldn't. There was a double nut kick during this fight. There was a real weird stand-up as Ramos was working ground and pound. What the hell was up with that, mate? And Ramos had pounded Hubbard from the top pretty hard before that. Haha. Hubbard dropped Ramos with a spin kick but couldn't win. That stand-up was just ridiculous and ugly. I didn't like it. What I did like, my boy, Charles Oliveira. I say that, I don't know him. He's good. Charles Oliveira is good. Very, very good as a UFC lightweight. I mean, hell, man. What more can you say about what Charles Oliveira has done since moving to lightweight? Look at how he was at featherweight. He missed weight against Swanson, lost to Edgar, fight of the night. Performance of the night against Ogle, performance of the night, Hioki. He missed weight, but he beat Stevens. He got performance of the night and fight of the night when he beat Nick Lentz at featherweight. He had that weird situation with Max Holloway, and then that's where it all went downhill. He was missing weight all the time. He went through a stretch of 4 fights where he either missed weight or lost a fight. Since he moved to lightweight, he is 5-1, or 6-1 rather. He's beaten Will Brooks, Jim Miller, Clay Guidas, some tough outs, man. 5 performance of the night bonuses. I don't know if he's got one tonight or not, but he's got the UFC record for most submission wins. You are watching a guy, dare I say, quietly put together a UFC Hall of Fame career. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that about a guy who's 27-8? Why do I say that about a guy who under 2 years ago, just a year and a half ago, was quite frankly looking at possibly being bounced from the UFC if he kept losing? Well, look at it, man. The UFC record for most submission wins. How many performance of the night bonuses? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12 performance of the night bonuses. How about this? He's got like 22, 24 fights, 2 decisions along the way. You know what I want to see? You know what fight I really want to see? I want to see Charles Oliveira and Donald Cerrone, and I want to see it so bad. It's not a fight that's a sexy fight that's going to bring a lot of people in to watch, but man. Lentz got taken down. An anaconda choke was almost applied. But then Oliveira almost guillotined Lentz. Ended up kicking him, but the ref stopped the action. Oliveira caught a Lentz kick, dropped him with a straight, ground and pound, and that's a wrap. 24 UFC fights, 2 decisions. That is special, man. Here are the people that he's lost to. Paul Felder, fantastic fighter. Ricardo Lamas, same. Anthony Pettis, Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson when that meant something, Jim Miller, and Donald Cerrone. I got to see that Cerrone fight again. Got to see it again. It is such a different fight than 8 years ago. I think we can get it. Hats off to somebody says Cerrone would KO him. Do Oliveira versus Ryan Hall. Hey, we don't do fights on paper. That's why you fight the fights. Saying, oh, he'd KO. Well, maybe. And let him KO him. Well, would that ever stop anybody from putting a fight together? Okay, cool. So Donald Cerrone would KO him. Book the fucking fight. People get KO'd in fights all the time. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't expect Donald Cerrone to get TKO'd by Masvidal. It happened. Fight the fights. Vicente Luque, number 15, takes the wind out of Derek Krantz. Now, they hyped up Derek Krantz by showing showing Dana White not wanting to sign him on looking for a fight. He's like, okay, you're going to get a contender series fight, but because of Neil Magny's USADA situation, Krantz got the call. And he came in and fought like he was like Luque was a minus 1,100 favorite. Woo! Cracked Luque, shook off a guillotine, but Luque blasted him with a knee. That's a wrap, man. Vicente Luque did exactly what he was supposed to do. And Luque, yeah, as Boza pointed out, thanked him for taking the fight. Felicia Spencer defeated Megan Anderson. Spencer took the back pretty early, ended up getting the submission win on Anderson. UFC's women's featherweight is all right. You got Zingano that fights there sometimes. You have Holly Holm that fights there sometimes. Megan Anderson, Felicia Spencer. Caitlin Vieira could fight there. I mean, if you want to throw in Betch Kohei at a job to somebody, sure, she weighed in closer to featherweight than bantamweight her last go around, so why not? Anderson's now 1-2 in the UFC. I'm not implying that Anderson should give up MMA, but I think she would excel in pro wrestling. But I mean, hey, you might as well ride the MMA train while it's there, and she's 29 years old, but she is a specimen that pro wrestling would love. Really long, lean, has a good look, can talk, knows how to shoot, 6 feet tall. Felicia Spencer, that's one to look out for. I mean, here's the thing. If Megan Anderson won, you could say, all right, maybe do that fight for the title. Can you do Felicia Spencer for the featherweight title right now? No. And I don't want to see Chris Cyborg get a rematch. I don't. I wouldn't mind seeing Felicia Spencer fight Chris Cyborg. Run that one. Why not? As for Megan Anderson, I would go with the Zingano fight again. That makes a lot of sense with Zingano coming off that controversial loss to Anderson and Anderson coming off of a loss. It'd be good to see which one wins because, I mean, there wasn't any real controversy. There shouldn't have been. Anderson won with the legal tactics. So Ian Heinisch defeated number 12 shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr. Now, Boza says that Cyborg called out Spencer for UFC 240. When's UFC 240? Probably in like 3.5 weeks or something. July 27, 2.5 months. Yeah, maybe. That is like Cyborg to call somebody out like 8 or 9 weeks from now. Don't know how they feel or anything. So I couldn't believe that the line was so close on Shoeface and Heinisch, but I found out why it was. I admired Heinisch from trying a Granby roll out of that waist lock. That's a great wrestling technique. Shoeface dominated that first round, but the ref missed an accidental headbutt in round 2, and Shoeface took Heinisch down anyway. Heinisch ended up on top and scored a great elbow that did damage. Round 3, Ian got caught in a ball sack with a knee, but dropped Shoeface, and then Junior just had a lazy set of takedown attempts that cost him this fight. Just void of any real effort were those takedowns. And Heinisch would grind it out. And he was a Contender Series product just 10 months ago. Now he's ended Antonio Carlos Jr.'s 5-fight winning streak. Damn. Now, if you're Heinisch, you might get another. I don't see why you would step back at this point. How do you step back? Antonio Carlos Jr. is ranked number 12. I think you got to face Uriah Hall, Elias Theodorou, David Branch, Brad Tavares, one of those. See, those aren't really attractive names, so to speak. I don't know if Jared Cannonier would want to face somebody who's not in the top 15, but I could easily see Heinisch replacing David Branch on that top 15. I could see that happening, but Uriah Hall would be a good one. Uriah Hall's won 2 out of 3, and he's always a guy that they want to put him in there and either win a fight or make somebody look good. So I think that Uriah Hall would be a reasonable next opponent. I have no idea if Hall is booked. I'm going to take a look right now, but I can't underscore how big of a win that is for Heinisch, man, to stop the 5-fight winning streak of Shoeface. I thought that Shoeface was worth the buzz, to be honest with you. I really did. I also thought Kevin Lee was worth the buzz, and I thought the move to welterweight was going to fix a lot of things. It didn't. Kevin Lee has regressed as a fighter. He peaked in 2017. I don't know. I mean, he lost his coach. That's tragic. He had that performance against Tony Ferguson where I fully believe that if Lee didn't go in there with a staph infection, we'd be looking at a way different fight. Don't know if he'd win, but we'd be looking at a different fight. His issues extend far beyond welterweight. A 165-pound division would not fix Kevin Lee's issues. You know why? Rafael dos Anjos was a normal-sized lightweight. Kevin Lee was facing someone really close to his size in Rafael dos Anjos, and it wasn't enough. Lee cracked RDA, took him down. RDA clipped Lee with a head kick. It wasn't enough. I liked it when RDA grabbed a front face lock. Lee snapped it away. But Lee would put himself in position to get in trouble an awful lot. He slammed RDA, got put in a guillotine, but went back to his feet. And in round 2, it was 7 minutes in, and Lee looked tired, man. I think he peaked at 24, 25 years old, and it's kind of amazing. He showed some great glimpses of offense, but it became very, very clear to me that Kevin Lee's issues had a lot more behind them than a weight division. RDA tapped him out in the 4th round. That's a champion. Rafael dos Anjos ended his 2-fight losing streak. He fought Usman and Colby Covington. He beat Kevin Lee. Man, and that's a big win for dos Anjos too, because dos Anjos didn't win at all last year. He needed a win. Kevin Lee needed a win, and now Kevin Lee has lost 3 out of 4 fights. He beat Edson Barboza, but he missed weight in that fight. If I'm the UFC, Rafael dos Anjos against Lawler too, if he can do it. He just went 4 rounds with Kevin Lee, so who knows how he's feeling right now. But the bigger question to me is, what do you do with Kevin Lee? This young guy, he's still 26, 27 years old, I think. GSP, I thought appropriately at the time, had him billed as a future superstar of the UFC. And the thing is, I could have seen that. I can't see that right now. Kevin Lee against Vicente Luque, I think, would be a good one. Neil Magny's probably about to be bounced from the rankings because of his USADA thing. You don't want to do Kevin Lee and Damian Maia. That's a boring fight to make. You don't want to do Stephen Thompson. That's a boring fight to make. But I don't think you give Kevin Lee somebody in the top 10 right now. Vicente Luque seems like a good one. Zaleski dos Santos seems like a good one. As for Rafael dos Anjos, he's still ranked number 3. Masvidal would be a good fight. Vicente Luque asked to be booked in the main event for Uruguay. I can't see Kevin Lee getting a main event again. Can't see it. Guys, reminder, no Fightful MMA podcast this Tuesday, but we will be doing updates. Make sure you guys tune in to FightfulMMA.com. Leave a thumbs up on this video. I can't tell you guys how important that is. It helps people find us. Leave us a nice review over on iTunes, Stitcher, any of that stuff. It helps people find us that way as well. We're going to have a lot more stuff on FightfulMMA.com, a lot more in-depth stuff. We have an interview with Jack Hermanson from Harry Kettle, who has joined us. I believe he has Ricardo Lamas set up as well, so make sure you guys tune in to that. Leave us a thumbs up. Until next time, guys, we are out.